They're towing the line because they want to make sure literally Trump doesn't get in office. And so the news is now all pro-Ukraine, and Ukraine is winning the war. That's the narrative here in Britain and in the US, which is not true from what I've heard from actually CIA sources. And the recent leak we saw from the Pentagon told us quite the opposite. And so what they're doing is they're suppressing anything that might not get Biden reelected, including, we saw a few years ago, thanks to the Twitter files, all the Hunter Biden laptop stuff, all those things where the staff at Twitter, in conjunction with what looked like the CEA and every other government subcommittee and agency, was trying to plant this Russian collusion story, trying to suppress that laptop story. And they corrupt the journalism at the end of the day. This just seems to be happening on a massive scale. Is that what's happening here again?
I look, I'm not apolitical. I'm a classic sort of lib lab. Although I've given money to Republicans, I'm not a big. Donations don't work for me because most of the time if they come public, they hurt the person. But I certainly. So it's not about, the reality is we've gone nuts on foreign policy under Biden, and he has this group of guys around him. Tony Blinken, who was the Secretary of State, who has never been an ambassador, never worked in the State Department. He's been the handholder for Biden in his last 20, 30 years of Congress. Biden became, by seniority, became chairman of he was chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He's been chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, and he's been there as his right-hand political guy. And the guy running the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan is his name, was Hillary's lawyer, among other things, when she had problems with Gmail. And the problems, I will tell you, if she'd been elected, she would have a lot of problems for me. I'll tell you that, about what I know about that. And so you have the most experienced guy is Bill Burns, who was a Deputy Secretary of State, ambassador to Russia. But when he was ambassador to Russia about a decade ago, he retired after that, I think, maybe one more tour. And he wrote a book about his experiences, warning not to keep NATO coming east, because Russia at some point, Putin sometime will go to war. He doesn't want NATO coming into, particularly in Ukraine. And you mentioned the story that I wrote a couple of weeks ago about corruption. And I'll just tell you, it was Burns himself had gone to see Zelensky in Kiev, and the message, and he wasn't alone. There were other people in his entourage, obviously, because I went to God. He certainly isn't going to tell me this story. His message was, it turns out, and it's hard to get your head around this. Ukraine needs diesel fuel to run its war. They operate mostly on diesel. Refined diesel is much easier to refine than the kind of gas we use here, and I'm sure in England too. But you use a lot of diesel too for your trucks. Anyway, the military equipment, the tanks and everything run on diesel. And since the war began 14 months ago, he's been buying his diesel from Russia.
I can't fathom. So Ukraine.
Let me keep on going.
Okay, keep going.
It is a huge kickback involved. The agency, in its investment, is an internal analysis, figured out the kickback so far on the gas alone, the diesel gas, is $400 million. And there's a mechanism in Ukraine for spreading the money. You got to spread the money. And if you think about it, now every agency in the government, if you have to buy toilet paper for a division in the field, 20,000 troops, that's a lot of business. And all the agencies that used to deal directly with producers and manufacturers now have front companies. They've brought in a third party because that helps the skim. They can have more corruption. God knows what the real corruption is. It's in the billions, obviously. So the message the CIA director gives Zelensky, who we applaud as this great leader, is, hey, buddy, you got a lot of generals and senior guys in the government really pissed at you because, you're taking too much of the take. Cut back the percentage. I know this sounds like mob talk. As I think I use that word. It's like out of a mafioso movie.
Yeah.
And so what he did was, we gave him a list of 35 people that we knew were corrupt. in the bureaucracy, military and in the bureaucracy. And what he did was he fired 10. And the 10 he fired were the most ostentatious. And I'm here to tell you, I have not been there myself, but I've talked to people about this. Much of Kiev is an upper middle class world. It's high livers, guys with drivers, liquor stores where you can buy, I read a story the other day, you can buy a $600 bottle of rum if you want, even though that's not the drink of choice there. It's just a luxury land, parts of it, because there's so much skim. And the guys in the field, they know this. They know what's going on, which also doesn't help morale. It's not being reported. And so he got rid of the 10 most ostentatious guys. And there we go. What are you going to do? Is the American government going to talk about it? And when I run this story with direct quotes from the conversation he had, not one paper picks up on it. And I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a visceral fear of the next election. Because you got a guy that's 80 and he's not, he had a talk 2 days ago in which I was told he began to wander, which you do when you get older. Take it from me. You begin to wander around quite a bit.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone. Also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?